Today I'm going to start a new series called The Funniest Parts of the Bible, because sometimes it gets downright hilarious. This first part comes to you from 2Kings 9, 1 through 13. And it's funny. I'm going to read the whole thing to you, and then I'll get to what popped in my head when I was reading it. Then Elisha the prophet called one of the sons of the prophets and said to him, "Tie up your garments and take this flask of oil in your hand and go to Ramoth-Gilead. And when you arrive, look there for Jehu the son of Jehoshaphat, son of Nimshi, and go in and have him rise from among his fellows and lead him to an inner chamber. Then take the flask of oil and pour it on his head and say, 'Thus says the Lord, I anoint you king over Israel.' Then open the door and flee, do not linger." So the young man, the servant of the prophet, went to Ramoth-Gilead, and when he came, behold, the commanders of the army were in council. And he said, "I have a word for you, O commander." And Jehu said, "To which of us all?" And he said, "To you, O commander." So he arose and went into the house, and the young man poured the oil on his head, saying to him, "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, I anoint you king over the people of the Lord over Israel, and you shall strike down the house of Ahab, your master, so that I may avenge on Jezebel the blood of my servants the prophets, and the blood of all the servants of the Lord. For the whole house of Ahab shall perish, and I will cut off from Ahab every male, bond or free, in Israel. And I will make the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Ahijah. And the dogs shall eat Jezebel in the territory of Jezreel, and none shall bury her." Then he opened the door and fled. When Jehu came out to the servants of his master, they said to him, "Is all well? Why did this mad fellow come to you?" And he said to them, "You know the fellow and his talk." And they said, "This is not true. Tell us now." And he said, "Thus and so he spoke to me, saying, 'Thus says the Lord, I anoint you king over Israel.' Then in haste every man of them took his garment and put it under him on the bare steps, and they blew the trumpet and proclaimed him Jehu is king." Now, why this is funny to me is because Elisha, which is Elijah's protege, was all like, "Hey, you guy," one of the sons of the prophets. He's all like, what? And he's all like, "Hey, wrap up your stuff so you can, go really fast. Take this oil and go tell Jehu he's king. Anoint him, pour some oil on him, anoint him king." And he's all like, okay. So you want me just to walk up to Jehu, pour oil on him, anoint him king, and get out of there?" Yep. And so he does. And when, he gets over there, and they all think he's crazy, this whole council, because they're having a war council. And he's all like, I've got a word for the commander. And Jehu's all like, "Which one?" He's like, "For you." And he's like, "Okay." And then he immediately just walks up to him, starts pouring the oil on him, says all this stuff, and then he opened the door and fled. So he's just like, "Kill Jezebel, you're the king," books it. And the commander's like, What happened? Then he came out, and they're like, all of his guys are like, "So what was that about?" And he's all like, "Well, what was this mad fellow talking about?" And he's like, "Well, and he's dripping with oil." And they're like, "Well, you know how crazy he is." And it's like, no, what did he say to you? And he said, "Well, you're not going to believe this, but I'm anointed king." And then they're all like, "Sweet." So they all anointed him king. Later on, he actually does go and takes over. And the king at the time is like afraid of him. And Jehu's like, "Well, I'm the king now, and all the commanders are with me." And so he takes over and kills Jezebel. But, dude, to me it is so funny, because this guy just, runs up in there. It's like, "You're the king, killed Jezebel," and then books it. He runs, because he's afraid for his life that these guys are gonna kill him or something. How would you feel? Like, hey, go pour oil on this guy's head, commander of the armies. None of them probably like us, because they all think we're nuts. I mean, that was awesome. 2 Kings 9. You guys have a great day. God bless you.